Rahul Jain of Dolat Capital joins us now. Rahul, what's your first advice to your investors who are panicking now? Because Paytm was one stock where I guess 8 out of 10 brokerages were bullish.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the development is big, and the reaction also we saw is pretty huge. Of course, from a call perspective, from a business impact perspective, because this is such a fluid situation, it's very difficult to gauge what could be the precise impact the company has quantified, what could be the potential impact on financial on a worst case scenario basis. And if we factor just that, then of course it's kind of an overreaction zone already. But we keep hearing so many things, so it's very difficult to conclude given the volatility where the stock would end, when the problem would start reversing. So I think more input in terms of how they are going to rectify is what they have said in the previous call. Some input in terms of that, okay, these things have started, this thing has moved to XYZ bank. Those kind of announcement, as in when it comes, it can come in 1 week from now, 1 month from now, or maybe in the next filing. Only then possibly there would be an incremental comfort. Till that time, I think it's going to stay very, very volatile.
But Rahul, at lower levels, Paytm is witnessing transaction. It's not that the stock hits a circuit and there are no buyers there. There is a transaction which is happening there. Bulk deals are capturing that. So my question is that at lower level, buying is coming for Paytm. Is that the right way of looking at it?
Yeah, I mean, if you just go through what they said in the call the next day, keeping the compliance aspect at a bay for now. If we just simply think from a financial perspective, if they are able to identify partner for businesses wherever PPBL was acting as a party, technically everything remains status quo. So everything, if they get a wallet partner, if they are going to get a UPI partner and stuff like that, then technically there is no revenue impact or business impact per se. Of course, the psychological damage or the news flow that has happened would have some impact in terms of how the consumer and merchant would perceive the services in shorter term or medium term basis. But outside of that, everything can be rectified. But yes, from a sentimental perspective, because there's so much ambiguity that what is the magnitude of the problem, why they got such a harsh statement from the regulator. Of course, those aspects would make people who are very risk averse to think twice in terms of whether they should participate in the story or at what price they would get comfortable.
Well, what is your assessment of the value of sum of part for Paytm purely for the wallet business? Let's assume that that gets zero. What happens to the sum of part business there? Because it's not that the entire business will get zero. It is only that wallet business which will get zero.
Yeah, of course, they have given a certain understanding of it, and if we compute on a higher side, this would have an EBITDA impact of 150 crore, is what we understand of it. Of course, this number would vary depending upon whether this wallet transaction or wallet recharging of the transaction is moving into which particular medium of their spend. But for example, if somebody is recharging the wallet with a credit card, essentially the person do not have enough balance on a debit basis, which would also mean he may probably go for a BNPL account on the same app. So technically, there's various way to look at the same situation, depending upon how various set of cohort would react to this. A minimum impact would be 150 crore in our view, based upon whatever implication that we have taken out of.
Rahul, just a coincidence, or maybe this is something how markets are thinking. Paytm has lost 20,000 crore of market cap. Jio has added 25,000 crores of market cap in the last 5 days. How would you read that data?
I mean, if somebody was not owning any piece of it or maybe evaluating one of it. Then, of course, it gives a slightly better edge because the competitive landscape would be slightly better for the new player if one of the incumbent is in pain. So that's a value that you would ascribe to. But whether that value should be 25,000 crore or higher or lower, I think that that would be function of how some of these competitive landscape change would actually play out over the next couple of quarter. I don't think the consumer behavior changes so fast. Geo, a lot of their payments or other tools are available, apps are available for quite some time in the market for many, many years. But we have not seen their progression into it as a business where they have tried to shape that up in a meaningful manner. Neither consumer have seen any meaningful utility to get into big way. But yes, of course, these things may change over time. But that is what we could sense. So we don't see a significant shift from Paytm to a possible geofinancial. But of course, slightly it's advantageous for a very like for competitor like PhonePe and even Google Pay to some extent.
All right, Rahul, really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.